Avengers! Assemble.
Hey everyone, I'm the Canadian Lad, and today I have watched Avengers Endgame at 0.25x speed and found 25 new details that you might have missed at a regular speed. But before I begin, I'd like to thank everyone who followed me on Marvel Collect by Topps. And for those of you who don't know, Marvel Collect is the ultimate destination where you can collect your favorite characters from across the Marvel multiverse. You can trade with other collectors to acquire cards you need to complete your collection. And you can also trade with me. Just look up my name, the Canadian Lad, and every day you'll have new missions that you can complete to earn rewards, which will help you earn gold to trade in for new packs to rip open. Not only can you collect and trade with other Marvel fans, but you can also watch along Marvel movies together for their Marvel watch parties. They'll drop cards and packs corresponding to the scenes and characters for the duration of the event, so you can get some exclusive rewards and free coins while watching your favorite Marvel movie just like I did. So to collect and trade with me, follow my link in description to download Marvel Collect by Topps today. And a big thanks to Topps once again for sponsoring this video. Number 1. How many times you think you've watched the Avengers Assemble scene? Or how many times have you watched Cap lifting Thor's hammer for the first time? I'm guessing more than 10 times, but I can bet you that you never noticed this detail that I'm gonna share with you now, because I didn't. But after watching it in slow motion for the second time, I noticed something extremely amazing. Notice that Cap always cushions the flight path of Mjolnir, while Thor grabs it outstretched. It's because Cap is used to adjusting for the shield's recoil, and therefore whenever he summons Mjolnir or Stonebreaker, he always lets it push his hand back. But Thor knows that Mjolnir comes to a stop at his hand. It also reflects how Thor is stronger than Cap in some sense, because he's able to stop both weapons without moving his hand at all. But that doesn't mean Cap is weak. It just goes to show that he's so much used to using his shield that he uses Mjolnir in the exact same motion. Number 2. When Thanos was preparing his breakfast, he had some lit candles, and even though these are all in different shapes and sizes, but notice they're still equally balanced. And what I mean by balanced is he has 6 pieces of candles, 2 large, 2 medium, and 2 small. Number 3. When 2012 Loki disguises himself as Captain America and imitates him, it confuses Hulk for a brief moment. It's because this Hulk is not that smart enough, so he wasn't able to figure out what Loki did there for a second. But once he realized Loki used his magic to impersonate Cap, he became very angry. Number 4. Now we all know this scene where Doctor Strange holds up one finger to tell Tony Stark there's only one way. But after this rewatch, I just figured it also takes exactly 1 minute from when Doctor Strange holds up one finger to when Tony snaps his fingers. Number 5. Now for this detail, you have to listen to the score for the title card of Infinity War. Now that you've heard how that score sounded like, let's hear the score for the title card of Endgame.
Let's go get this son of a bitch.
It sounds different, doesn't it? It's because half of the instruments used in the opening title card of Infinity War are not present during the Endgame title card, so even the background score is missing another half in this movie. Number 6. Korg shows signs of moss or lichen growth on his body due to the nature of his and Thor's lazy lifestyle. Number 7. When Steve Rogers and Tony travel back to 1970 to retrieve both Space Stone and Pym particles, there we see 2 more familiar faces. One is a cameo by Josh Brolin himself, and the other is Christopher Marcus, who is one of the writers of this movie, dressed as a S.H.I.E.L.D. agent. Number 8. Tony's fall off from the title card of Infinity War are not present during the Endgame title card, so even the background score is missing another half in this movie. Number 6. Korg shows signs of moss or lichen growth on his body due to the nature of his and Thor's lazy lifestyle. Number 7. When Steve Rogers and Tony travel back to 1970 to retrieve both Space Stone and Pym particles, there we see 2 more familiar faces. One is a cameo by Josh Brolin himself, and the other is Christopher Marcus, who is one of the writers of this movie, dressed as a S.H.I.E.L.D. agent. Number 8. Tony's fall off from the Stark Tower parallels his fall in Avengers 1, and in both scenes Tony is suiting up with Mark 85 and Mark 7 respectively. Now we all know that, but here's something new. The nanotech Mark 85 suit up is more nonchalant and roughly 3 times faster than Mark 7, emphasizing how advanced his technology has become. Number 9. Professor Hulk can be seen wearing glasses, which is nicely detailed with fingerprints. Now obviously fingerprints would exist on a glossy black frame, and the reason I'm counting this as a detail is because you can see that Mark The nanotech Mark 8. When Steve Rogers and Tony travel back to 1970 to retrieve both space tone and PIM particles, there we see two more familiar faces. One is a cameo by Josh Brolin himself, and the other is Christopher Marcus, who is one of the writers of this movie, dressed as a S.H.I.E.L.D. agent. Number 8. Tony's fall off from the Stark Tower parallels his fall in Avengers 1, and in both scenes Tony is suiting up with Mark 85 and Mark 7 respectively. Now we all know that, but here's something new. The nanotech Mark 85 suit up is more nonchalant and roughly 3 times faster than Mark 7, emphasizing how advanced his technology has become. Number 9. Professor Hulk can be seen wearing glasses which is nicely detailed with fingerprints. Now obviously fingerprints would exist on a glossy black frame, and the reason I'm counting this as a detail is detailed with fingerprints, emphasizing how advanced his technology has become. Number 9. Mark 7, emphasizing how advanced his technology has become. Number 9. Professor Hulk can be seen wearing glasses which is nicely detailed with fingerprints. Now obviously fingerprints would exist on a glossy black frame, and the reason I'm counting this as a detail is because you can see that Mark Ruffalo wasn't wearing any glasses while shooting. It was all added in post-production, and the fact that they decided to add fingerprints in the frame again goes to show the attention to detail. Number 10. In Avengers 1, Tony says to Loki,
There is no version of this where you come out on top.
However, in this movie, an alternate timeline is created, in which Tony Stark is partly responsible for Loki coming out on top. Number 11. At the beginning of the film, the Benatar resembles a swallow when it was drifting around in space. Now swallows are a symbol for loyalty, hope, and the safe return home after a long journey. And thanks to Captain Marvel, Tony and Nebula make it back home in one piece. And that's why Marvel deliberately made the ship look like a swallow, foreshadowing Tony and Nebula's safe return. Number 12. When Black Widow jumps and sacrifices herself for the Soul Stone, Hawkeye briefly looks away. Now this could very well be because nobody wants to see their friend's head getting crushed, but there could be another reason why Hawkeye looked away. It might be because of his enhanced far-sightedness. Number 13. After Hawkeye comes back from the past as a test run, if we pay attention to the background responsible for Loki's self for the Soul Stone, Hawkeye briefly looks away. Now this could very well be because nobody wants to see their friend's head getting crushed, but there could be another reason why Hawkeye looked away. It might be because of his enhanced far-sightedness. Number 13. After Hawkeye comes back from the past as a test run, if we pay attention to the background, you will see that Scott has some orange slices ready for Clint. It's because he knows entering the quantum realm might make you super dizzy, so an orange might be a help to stabilize yourself. Number 14. When Tony Stark traveled back to 1970 to get the space tone, he looked through multiple lockers to find out where the space tone is. Now one of the lockers he scanned contained Gamma's signature, so even before the Hulk was born in the MCU, S.H.I.E.L.D. was already working on gamma radiation. Number 15. Almost all the Avengers made fun of Back to the Future movies, but upon this rewatch I just found this visual similarity between Back to the Future Part 2 and the final battle of this movie.
Whoa, this is heavy.
There's that word again, heavy. Why are things so heavy in the future? Is there a problem with the Earth's gravitational pull?
Number 16. At this point, almost everyone is aware of Howard the Duck appearing in the final battle, but I wanted to give you lads something more. So I counted how many frames does he appear in, and found Howard the Duck appeared for a total of 18 frames. That's less than 1 second. Number 17. When Tony Stark went back to 2012, his suit retracts from the feet first while entering Stark Tower in order to land more quietly. Now of course RDJ wasn't wearing any suit in real life. It's all CGI, so hats off to the VFX team who pays attention to every detail. Number 18. While discussing when and where to get the Infinity Stones, Thor is using eye drops, but notice he only puts them in his left eye because his right eye is robotic. Number 19. During the opening scene with Clint's family, many birds can be heard in the background, but when his family gets dusted, the sound of the bird diminishes by half as well, indicating the snap not only affected human lives but all lives in general. Number 20. When the Avengers have to use the van with the quantum tunnel, Captain America asks,
Anyone see an ugly brown van out there?
Yes, but you're not gonna like where it's parked.
but pay attention to Tony's heads-up display. When he says we can't get the stones back because Thanos destroyed the quantum tunnel, there's no indication of the van in his map. But when he asks Ant-Man how long would it take to get the van working, his map of the battlefield is updated with the red blip of the location of the van. So even without Tony asking, Friday automatically located the van using Valkyrie's instructions. Number 21. A lot of people wonder, how did Rhodey end up in his new suit for the final battle? Well, if you watch the scene when Thanos attacks the Avengers compound in 0.25x speed, at one point Ant-Man answers Rhodey's call for help, and there in the background the Iron Patriot Mark II armor can be seen, which Rhodey wears in the final battle. So it's safe to say, not only did Ant-Man save Rhodey, Rocket and Hulk, but he also made sure to get this new suit to Rhodey. Number 22. Right before Thor exchanges Mjolnir for Stonebreaker from Captain America, Mantis can be seen in the background putting to sleep one of the Chitauri gorillas, using her empathic powers. Number 23. When Hulk and Rocket go to New Asgard to bring Thor back, we can see this big figure walking in the background. This is the same gladiator that escaped with everyone from Sakaar in Thor Ragnarok. Number 24. Thor has Hulk and Iron Man pest dispensers in his room next to Stonebreaker. Number 25. Now this detail has nothing to do with slow motion, but it's something that I observed. One thing that bugged me after I watched Endgame for the first time is, why did they decide to kill off Tony Stark while keeping Cap alive? We knew this was the last movie for both actors, and perhaps they could have given Tony his happy ending by letting Cap sacrifice his life for all humanity. But the thing that I realize now is that Captain America couldn't die in this movie, because he was willing to die in the first one, and that wouldn't really be a journey. So maybe for Steve to be his best self, he was going to have to get alive, and for Tony to complete his arc, he might have to lose his. And that's it. This completes my entire Infinity Saga rewatch at 0.25x speed, which received more than 84 million views from around the globe. It took me more than 9 months to finish the entire series, but I did it. And I did it because of you. You lads have been my inspiration. You all have helped me fight my depression, my anxiety, and got me out of my misery. I thank God and all of you for supporting me throughout. But hey, I'm not stopping here. I'll keep making quality content as long as Marvel keeps making their stops. Till then, I'll watch other movies in slow motion and make bunch of videos on the future of the MCU. I'll see you lads in the next one.
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're going to be counting down our picks for the top 20 most powerful anime attacks. For this list, we're going to be looking at the techniques used by heroes and villains that could likely take the whole world with it. Keep in mind, we'll be focusing on physical attacks as opposed to manipulating abilities, so don't expect to see all fiction or Gold Experience Requiem show up. Did we hakai your mind with this list, or do you find our serious punches lacking? Let us know in the comments, and as always you can catch me on Twitter at AshJBo, so head over there, give me a follow, and let me know which anime list you want to see next. Number 20. Bolo Breath, One Piece. It's only natural to think that a dragon would be able to breathe fire. Then again, most dragons aren't also one of the 4 emperors of the sea. In his human form, Kaido has consistently proven himself to be nigh unkillable no matter what he or anyone else does, even taking out Luffy with a single strike. Then there's his Devil Fruit, which allows him to take on the form of a giant dragon that almost overshadows all of Wano. And wouldn't you know it, it can blast out a wave of fire that can reduce a mountainscape to cinders. Let's hope the Straw Hats don't find themselves on the receiving end of that. Number 19. Demon Gun Mega, Yu Yu Hakusho. Yusuke was already pretty proficient when it came to blowing off the heads of demons with his trusty spirit gun. All he had to do was literally point and boom. But as we all know, Shinobu Sensei is no demon, and as such required something a little more potent in order to put him down for good.
The hell it doesn't! So long!
After his Muzan ancestor, Ryzen, takes over his body and unlocks the dormant demon power in his blood, Yusuke wasn't only able to easily take the former spirit detective to task, but also boost his spirit gun to such an extent that not even Sensei and his many personalities could survive against it. Number 18. True Death, Overlord. By far the quickest and most peaceful way one could expect to leave the mortal coil when facing down Ainz Ul Gon. Even though Gazef was instantly killed by the top tier spell, we'd say he got off lucky.
私は二人を相手にしても構わないぞ。それには及ばない。そこの二人に手出しは無用。
As a show of respect to the warrior, instead of having Lovecraft hentai goat demons trample him to death, Ainz instead freezes time before casting some small-scale magic that, while it shows no visible signs of damage, immediately snatches the life out of the kingdom's most valiant hero.
ディレイマジック、トゥルーです。
Dude didn't even get one good sword swing in before ending up a corpse.
どうした？盾ガゼフ！ もう死んでいる。
Number 17. Crimson Moon, Fire Force. Benimaru Shinmon is an absolute beast. Who else do you know that can burn down an entire town in one afternoon, only to have it up and running the next? With a combined mastery of second and third generation pyrokinesis, the captain of the 7th was well regarded as the strongest fire soldier of them all, in no small part thanks to the various techniques that made up his Iai hand sword style. Though among all the techniques in his repertoire, none come deadlier than the Crimson Moon, which when unleashed not only creates an explosion resembling a red moon, but can also eradicate a demon infernal like it was nothing. Entire squadrons can barely pull that off.
あれが人一人で起こした爆発か。なんて火力だ。
Number 16. Dark Cloaked Dimension Slash, Equinox, Black Clover. Whether it be man or monster, you can always count on Captain Yami of the Black Bulls when it comes to cutting down his target.
闇魔法、闇まとい、次元斬り。
Originally, his Dark Cloaked Dimension Slash was able to slice through practically everything in its path, regardless of any kind of magical defense. The only problem being that he had to get up close and personal for it to work.
闇まとい、次元斬り、悲願。
And that's what makes Equinox so devastating, since it not only allows him to slash from afar, but by absorbing the surrounding mana, possesses such a bite that it carved up an actual devil like a turkey. Number 15. Zero Hand, Hunter x Hunter. The 100 type Guanyin Bodhisattva is a Nen ability unlike any other. So much so that with its 99 hands, you'd think there wouldn't be anything that could top it. Alas, after the power of the Chimera Ant King proved to be too vast for even the construct's countless palm strikes, Netero had no choice but to unleash his ace in the hole, one that involved having Guanyin Bodhisattva ensnare his targets before raining down a blast containing the force of a star.
無慈悲の咆哮である。
While Meruem would ultimately survive it, the sheer power of this technique would undoubtedly wipe out anyone else caught in its grasp. Number 14, Enuma Elish, Fate Series. Among the countless weapons that lie in Gilgamesh's treasury, none are more precious than the blade known as Iha.
Enuma!